A lesson you learn real quick in high school basketball: there are no guarantees. Minnehaha Academy found that out on Saturday when they lost to Cretin-Derham Hall. The hungry Redhawks team, one of the favorites in Class 3A, pays a visit to North St. Paul, where the Polars are looking for their first win of the season. Greetings, everyone. I'm Mike Peden, joined by Erik Jimson. Erik, good to have you back. How was your summer?
It was pretty well. I mean, it's kind of hard to remember now with the season's changing so fast in Minnesota. It's like we went right from summer right into winter, but I'm kind of used to it, so just excited to be here to watch some basketball. Winter means basketball, and I love basketball, so I'm ready to see some action tonight.
Now, hear me out. This, I imagine, going out on a limb here, my money's on the red team.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm with you there, but we'll see. Nothing is guaranteed, as you said earlier. I mean, everybody has to come out and play. Minnehaha has a few big names, and they got some really great players, but they still got to put the ball in the basket and defend and win the game. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, let's talk about some of the names for Minnehaha Academy, the defending Class 2A champions. They won't be able to defend that title because they moved up to 3A for the next couple of years. You have Jalen Suggs in his senior season, Chet Holmgren. He had a great season a year ago, and then that breakout at the Steph Curry Under Armour camp. Terry Lockett came back. He won't play tonight. Prince Aligbe. It's a loaded Minnehaha team, and a lot of fun to watch.
It should be exciting. A lot of good young talent. Minnesota's been producing some pretty good players over the last few years, and just a nice story history of great basketball players. Minnehaha looks to continue that tradition, and I think it'd be interesting for them to move up from 2A to 3A. They should still be able to compete with the loaded roster they have, and it'll be exciting, man. We'll see what kind of action we get here tonight, so I'm excited to see it.
Well, one school to keep an eye on is De La Salle for the 3A state championship. North St. Paul 0-3. Damian Johnson likes to schedule tough non-conference games. He's already played Cretin-Derham Hall, De La Salle, Spring Lake Park. He's got Edina at Eden Prairie after this. So North St. Paul, they could end up 0-6, although even if that happens, it's a little bit of a misleading record because Damian Johnson feels whatever the record is, it will help prepare them when they get to Metro East Conference play and later on to the sections.
Well, I'm sure Damian, being a former athlete, he knows in order to be the best, you got to go out, play the best, and beat the best. So even if they aren't beating the best teams right now at this moment, this will do nothing but hone his younger players, make them better going against these hardships and these tougher guys, and help them develop faster. So he's just trying to put his guys to the test and show them what it's going to take for them to become one of those elite teams down the line.
One of the players to watch for the Polars is Shaheed Muhammad. He's a three-point threat, brings a lot of quickness. Some call him an underrated figure in the senior class. It's going to be a lot of fun, and as you can see behind us, a big student section on hand for North St. Paul, ready for a big matchup. We'll be back in a moment. Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSP Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves. Holloman, good if it goes. Yes! Game winners. James, she's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in! And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. Let's put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching. Mike Peden and Erik Jimson alongside you. And Erik, I guess we're on a standing invitation, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's not like the normal sitting down, enjoying the view, but we got to stand up and take in tonight's action. But we got some good basketball coming up, so how can you complain?
Sometimes you got to stand up and take charge.
Yeah, there you go.
And I guess we can't go any further without giving a shout out to your old buddy Jessica January, who is playing overseas again. Hungary, I believe, is where she's making the big bucks, and it's cool to see that she is able to continue playing professionally, and hopefully we'll get her back on the mic for a game or two, but we got to say hello.
Yeah, we'll let her focus on that for now. We'll hold it down back here at home and keep balling out, Jess.
Minnehaha Academy classing up to 3A. They felt they had the team to do it, and when you look at the roster, they are equipped to hang with the best in 3A. Let's take a look at the starters. For the Minnehaha Academy Redhawks, it's Jalen Suggs, number 1. Caden Johnson, number 2. Donovan Smith, number 5. Prince Aligbe, number 10. And Chet Holmgren, number 34. North St. Paul, different starting 5 than our last visit. Brandon Hickman, number 1. Dallas Williams, number 2. Shaheed Muhammad, number 3. Aaron Murphy, number 5. And Robert Wessel, number 34. You know, the crowd wasn't like this in the Cretin-Derham Hall game, but Minnehaha Academy, they've got a lot of hype. You probably read the article in the Star Tribune, wondering if it was the best team ever. I talked to Lance Johnson about that. He said that kind of proclamation, a little premature. We've got a lot of season to play and a lot of good teams out there.
Yeah, as far as that preseason stuff, all that goes out the window when you get into these, late fall and winter nights. You got to go out and prove it that, if you want to be the best team ever, you got to show it on the court. And the only way for them Minnehaha to truly get that validation, they're going to have to bring home that Class 3A title and go out on top.
And that being said, you can understand why they're getting so much attention. Jalen Suggs, one of the top ranked members in the senior class in the country. And there's Chet Holmgren, that lanky 7-foot frame.
Yeah, he's going to be a tough matchup for anybody. And especially this North St. Paul team, a little undersized, they're going to have a tough time dealing with Chet all night.
Anyone who faces Minnehaha, that's going to be an issue they'll contend with, Chet Holmgren. And he was like this a year ago. It's not like he came out of the blue. Really, it was the Under Armour camp and that crossover move he put on Steph Curry that got him on the radar, but he was no secret up here.
No, we've been knowing he can play, and now the world has eyes on him, and he'll continue to get better. He's only a junior. He has another 2 years of this to go, so as long as he sticks with it, he should be a prime-time player for a long time.
And Jalen Suggs, we don't know where he's going yet. I know Gonzaga's been lobbying hard to get him, and who knows how long he'll stick around.
Yeah, I mean,
he might go pro in a year, much like Tyus Jones did.
Yeah, he has the type of talent where he can go to college and play one campaign, and he's on his way out the door as a lottery pick somewhere. So, we'll see how it goes.
Something we should note, a lot of players on this Minnehaha team are football crossovers. Lance Johnson felt the football legs hindered them in the game with Cretin-Derham Hall. That 3 was off the mark. I can't see who shot it. I think it was Hickman, but with everyone standing up, there's Jalen Suggs missing the 3. And that is a foul on number 5, Aaron Murphy. So pardon us if we can't identify players in the near side with everyone standing up.
And North St. Paul's going to want to make some of those threes. The 3 can be the great equalizer. You're facing a team with more talent and guys that are more experienced. You hit some of those threes early that can get you out to a high start and, give you a little cushion to work with here.
Jalen Suggs has passed back out, hit the backboard, and the backboard is in play as long as you don't shoot it, so that's why North St. Paul was able to get the steal and continue play. North St. Paul shorthanded, no LaRon Thomas. He sprained his ankle in the Cretin-Derham Hall game, and Sean West Zimpel not available. But they're hoping to get Brendan Langford Johnson back soon. I guess he did return from Texas, but it might be a while before he suits up for the Polars. It will stay North St. Paul ball. And Terry Lockett, he's out for the Redhawks, also recovering from injury.
Yeah, both teams slightly undermanned, but it's next man up in sports, and this is an opportunity for some of the guys who may not usually get as many minutes or much playing time, come out here and show what you have. Coach is going to be going to you a little bit more with his roster being a little depleted.
North St. Paul showing some hustle. That was Brandon Hickman. That at least prevents a fast break on the part of the Redhawks. And you can attest to this, Erik. I know every experience is different, but one reason why is we've got 3 free throws coming for Donovan Smith. One reason why the football-basketball crossover can be a challenge for Minnehaha with the SMB co-op, Minneapolis North comes to mind. They often go to state in both sports, so when you're going from football to basketball, Lance Johnson told me he's only had 3 full days of practice with his entire team.
Yeah, you don't get much time. You go late into the year, late into the fall with football, and And then another thing, football is just such a physically taxing sport. You're a little banged up, so you come right in. You got to get a few days off, and you come right into playing basketball every day. Basketball is a sport that takes a lot of time and a lot of repetition. So, you know, these guys may be a little out of sync still, even though they got a lot of talent. We may not see them running as, you know, the fine oil machine we think they'll become, but it's going to take some time, and we'll see what happens.
And it's a matter that's complicated by the fact that SMB, Minneapolis North, they go to state, they make deep runs. So these guys can't get to practice because it was only a couple weeks ago where Jalen Suggs had to play in the Prep Bowl. There he is. And I think North St. Paul got to him.
Yeah.
Well, the Polars showing no fear. They have yet to get on the board, but yeah, you can't play intimidated.
No, you got to. Even though when you know you're going up against Goliath, you got to bring the effort. And as a coach, the only thing you can ask for is a team to give 100% effort. I mean, leave it all out here on the floor. That's what the Polars are doing early.
Backdoor play does not drop. And the Polars, they've got to convert on some of these plays here because Minnehaha, you get the feeling that it's only a matter of time before they find the rhythm.
Yeah, if you're the Polars, like I said, you want to get a few shots going early so you can keep some pressure on Minnehaha, keep some pressure on these guys, and let them know you aren't going away, you aren't going to roll over for them. And North has missed a few easy shots that they should have converted, so they're going to have to get some of those to fall here pretty soon.
Demarion Watson-Salisbury is going in, number 14. Prince Aligbe was slow to get up. Jalen Suggs looking to quiet the crowd. Short on the three. And the steal by Robert Wessel. Oh, here comes Jalen with the silencer and one.
And that's just too easy. If you're going to give up a foul in the open court, make sure you take a hard foul and make sure prevent him from getting the shot up. Suggs able to get the steal, show his athleticism, get out ahead, and that's just like playing in the backyard for him. That's a walk in the park.
Now Jalen Suggs, he's familiar with this venue, and I'll explain why. His AAU team, Grassroots Hoops, one of the organizers of that program is Brian Sandifer, and Brian Sandifer's daughter, Bria, plays on the volleyball team. You may remember this. You covered a volleyball game last year here at North St. Paul as Suggs completes a three-point play. So the Sandifers and Suggs, they have a lot of connections. They're like family, and I asked Bria, as we have a timeout here called by North St. Paul, I asked Bria who she was cheering for, and she said, I got to go with Minnehaha, even though she's a North St. Paul student.
I mean, that's understandable. That's understandable, even though some of her fellow classmates may not like hearing that, but you got to ride with the family, you know. So
well, and
you're
right, some of the staffers here at North St. Paul gave her a hard time about it.
As expected.
Holmgren and Suggs, both part of that program, and they all go to each other's games. Jalen and Chet, they would show up to North St. Paul's volleyball games. I saw them during the section run with North St. Paul 1, ended up finishing third in Class 3A in state. Bria told me Jalen was there opening day. She said the most amusing part about it is that Bria can often go undetected, but anytime Chet and Jalen stop by to say hello, they get stopped by fans who want to take photos. You know, they're starstruck by two big names in prep basketball, and Bria just goes about her day.
Yeah, I mean,
funny how that works.
Yeah, being a big-time basketball player, there's no helmet on. There's a lot of people are interested in basketball, so you get a lot of exposure, and those guys are pretty much like mini rock stars around these parts, you know. So.
Well, your old compadre, Jessica January, can attest to that.
Yeah, she's pretty big-time around these parts as well.
Well, I remember her playing days at Richfield. She was the big name on campus.
Without a doubt, yeah.
And you probably were the one who got to slide by and not get stopped every 5 minutes for an autograph or a photo, right?
Exactly.
Donovan Smith knocking down the three. It's a 10-0 run to start the game for the Redhawks. North St. Paul gets on the board. Brandon Hickman scoring. Holmgren. 3 is off the mark from number 14. West Salisbury. Watson Salisbury, I should say, and that's going North St. Paul's way.
What you like to see from a big fella like Chet on a play like that, when you grab the offensive rebound, when you got a significant size advantage, the way he does, just keep it high and put it right off the glass, right back up for 2 points. Because now you bring it down, those little guys can get to it. They tie it up for a jump ball, and now it's North St. Paul's ball going the other way.
Standing room only in the student section, and Ben Teaglin was denied going up. And if I come back here, I might set up on the other end.
Might not be a bad idea.
What was I thinking? But again, Minnehaha Academy, they're one of the celebrity names this season. So I can understand the incentive, the energy, the hype surrounding a matchup like this.
Yeah, the fanfare is probably exacerbated a little bit for this one tonight.
North St. Paul with just 1 field goal, though. Watson Salisbury is fouled. And I have to imagine this is going to be the atmosphere that Minnehaha Academy will get for every marquee game. Edina, they'll play them in January. Eden Prairie, one of the top teams in 4A. The doubleheader with De La Salle, that's going to be a big one.
I mean, yeah, like there's a lot of buzz around this team. A lot of people are interested in seeing if the hype is real and what these guys are about, and they just got to be up for the challenge. They're going to get the best shot from every team. Just as like us fans and commentators, as we hear, you know, all the hoopla around these guys, so do the other teams. And they're gonna come out and play hard and put you to the test.
Isaiah Davis with the putback, 12-3 the score. Red Hawks are going up big. Chet Holmgren. Whoa! Suggs and Teaglin exchanging a couple of words. Holmgren, he came down hard, threw it down, and I'm not sure what happened, but fell on his backside.
Yeah, you don't like to see that as a basketball player. It's kind of an unwritten rule. If a guy is going straight at the basket, he's coming down with 2 hands. You kind of give him some landing space. One of the polars kind of got up underneath him and made him lose his balance, and he took a hard fall coming off the rim. He looks to be okay, though, he got up under his own power and walked it off, so hopefully he's all right.
Walking a little awkwardly. I mean, that is a scary situation, though. As you said, you lose your balance, you fall on your back, you don't have a way to brace yourself.
I remember about...
And that might be why, as you said, Suggs
remember about
expressing his displeasure, going back to that unwritten rule that you let the guy, you let him land.
Yeah, because about 9 or 10 years ago, Evan Turner, when he went to Ohio State, he had a similar injury, got out on the break, and nice 2-hand breakaway guy got up underneath him. He fell off the rim in a similar fashion and fell on his back and kind of fractured some vertebrae, and could have been a lot worse. He was able to obviously come back, have a good collegiate career, and he's in the NBA for a long time. But yeah, that's a scary play nonetheless.
It's 14-3. Now it's Muhammad on the fast break, and he's fouled by Chase Carter, Randy's son. Chase played at Maranatha last year, moved over to Minnehaha. Chase had an older brother who won a state title for the Red Hawks back in 2013, Kahari Carter. And here's Shaheed Muhammad, North St. Paul's leading scorer. A threat from three-point range, but he hasn't had too many touches yet. And Chet Holmgren's going back in.
Yeah, I know Minnehaha's focus is probably to take him out of his game with his marksmanship and ability to get hot. He can keep this game closer, get out to a lead pretty quick. So they've been keeping a lot of pressure on him and making sure he isn't getting open looks.
You were discussing the hype earlier. If you look at the Minnehaha side, you've got a bunch of camera ops. Overtime is here. A few others. A lot of the groups that do the mixtapes. There's another guy using his cell phone. And I saw this last week at the Hopkins-Farmington game. Paige Beckers creates a similar reaction. Everywhere Paige and Jalen go, there's a following.
Out of all the great youth Minnesota basketball players I've seen, Paige is probably my favorite to watch. I mean, her game is mesmerizing. Just not only for.
How does Jessica feel about that?
Oh, I mean, hopefully she doesn't watch this, but we won't tell her about that one. But I just have to be honest. Paige is just on another level. It's just amazing to watch her play.
Suggs to Carter, and the Red Hawks methodically building a 16-4 lead. Well, Jalen, he's a special player too.
Oh, without a doubt.
I remember covering him as an 8th grader many years ago. Minneapolis, North Minnehaha, those two schools have an annual series. They will play in late February this year. Jalen Suggs, well, there he goes for 3, pure. Well, that's what got my attention, because Jalen Suggs, and we have a timeout called. I think Minnehaha got it. It was. Well, to finish up that story, he was knocking down threes from Steph Curry range, and I'm thinking to myself, who is this kid? A few years later, we all know.
Yeah. Anytime, that's usually a telltale sign. You see a guy that age, 13, 14, playing at a high level, especially against competition older than them, that's usually a telltale sign, hey, this kid right here, keep an eye out, he's going to be something. So, and Suggs, he fell in line with that formula, and he became something for sure.
And Chet Holmgren following suit. Trey Holloman out of Cretin-Derham Hall led the state in assists. Trey, I guess, had a breakout performance of his own. It was Cretin-Derham Hall who knocked off Minnehaha. Trey had a big game. And for everyone who was there to see Jalen Suggs, you could say Trey stole the show. And what's this all about?
It's like a little bit of students getting involved and fans trying to have an impact on the game. I'm not sure what the chant is, though. But
yeah, what's that circle about there? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a new one for me as well.
Well, I know I've been plugging Jessica. I might as well throw in another one. You know, she played varsity in 8th grade. We got a 3 from the corner. North St. Paul knocks it down. Shaheed Muhammad scores it. Red Hawks swing it around. Suggs for 3. Bullseye. 2 trays for Jalen Suggs.
And that's the last thing the Polish want to see is Suggs to get going from outside and start to feel himself. Once you get a few of those to fall, then the rest of the game follows suit and he can just take over out here.
Chet Holmgren with the block. Yeah, you got to make sure you know where he is. Shaheed Muhammad knocks down the 3. 22-10, and North St. Paul fans are looking for anything to get them in this game. Threes can certainly help. And that's going to be a foul on Caden Johnson.
That was back-to-back threes from Muhammad as well, answering Suggs' shots. And as I said, Muhammad is the guy that can keep the Poles in this game with his marksmanship and ability to heat up from outside. So Poles going to have to rely on him heavily in this first half to make sure this game doesn't get out of hand.
Well, don't forget, Muhammad had a critical role last year. You were on hand for this when North St. Paul got that upset win over De La Salle. DeJuan Carter had 39 in that one, but Shaheed Muhammad knocked down a few threes.
Oh, yeah, he was fantastic to shoot from outside. And like I said, the 3 is the great equalizer. When a guy like that can get hot from the outside, even when they're playing a team with more talent, you know, they can jump out on guys, and then a few shots don't go for the better team's way, and then here you go, the underdog is off and running.
Minnehaha can't convert on the alley-oop. Muhammad again. Suggs with the answer in transition. He's feeling it.
Oh, man, yeah, this you might see a show out here pretty soon, because this is
I don't think the football legs are going to be a problem tonight.
No, he's have it rolling. He's knocking those down from deep as he gets the steal here on the break. And
oh, no.
I know he'd like to have that one back.
But Minnehaha gets the O board. Can't make the three. No, you're right. You like to have that one back, but they're up by 12. Sometimes the Red Hawks can get a little cute, but usually they go up big by that point. That's going to be a foul on Suggs.
And as you're talking about the wear and tear from
no,
the football,
going the other way.
As you're talking about the wear and tear from the football season, a guy like Suggs will usually just go up and dunk that ball, so maybe, legs are bothering him a little bit. He seems to have a little limp to him as well as he's checking out the game. But he would usually just make sure those 2 points are 100%, go up and dunk that ball. It looked like he kind of lost a bit of his lift going up.
And these are things, in case you're worried, they'll clear up by the end of the month. When you get to January, February, that won't be a problem.
Yeah, there's nothing like basketball shape. I mean, you can be in shape, but you got to get out here and play basketball to get your legs under you and stay in basketball shape. And that usually happens for these guys after a month or so when that second wind kicks in, and it's just like riding a bike all over.
Lance Johnson, the longtime coach for the Red Hawks, 3 state titles. And Minnehaha's knocking down threes and taking names. Donovan Smith, Red Hawks up by 15. And they have silenced the North St. Paul crowd. Muhammad, a little crossover, but Chet Holmgren was waiting for him.
And you got to know, as all polos have to know, is if you beat that initial defender and get to that basket, Holmgren's going to be waiting down there, and you better have your mind made up what you're going to do, because if you just put it up aimlessly, it's going to get sent back at you. So
he's a lot stronger than his frame suggests. And as you noted earlier, the world learned about him with that Under Armour camp hosted by Steph Curry. He and Paige Beckers invited to participate. Jalen Suggs and Paige Beckers both have USA junior national experience.
And that's where you're playing the elite of the elite across the world. So, I mean, you can go out there and hang with those players. That gives you the confidence to say, hey, I can play with anybody on this planet.
And the Suggs family, a strong lineage in the sport of basketball. Jalen, Raina come to mind. Bernard Suggs at Woodbury. Ricky Suggs. I remember last year with Jalen, he had a viral moment. Well, he's had plenty. But Minnehaha, Minneapolis North, he went up for a dunk and then expressed his excitement about that, to put it lightly. He got teed up for it as he was drawing at a North player. And that clip went viral, and Jalen said, I'm going to bring it. I'm not going to be sorry about myself or apologize for my skill set.
And being a former player and a fan of the game, those are the guys I admire most. Is, you don't mind those few technicals here and there, and the guys, getting into someone's face, because those are guys you can count on to bring it every game, no matter the competition level. Jalen's passionate about the game, and he wants to go out and show every night that the billing that he gets is the billing he deserves.
Brandon Hickman knocked down the three for the Polars. The Red Hawks, their transition game has been on and off so far. They're trying to get that going. And because Minnehaha threw that out of bounds on the inbound, North St. Paul will get it back under the Minnehaha basket here. So a chance to pick up a little momentum and get this crowd going.
And the Poles have done a fine job here last few possessions of hitting a few key shots to make sure the lead doesn't balloon too crazy, even with Suggs hitting a few tough threes and other guys on the Hawks hitting a few threes.
And going back to what you said earlier, it's one thing to get a cheap technical as Hickman misfires on the three. it's another, if you get it, in a celebratory mood. I mean, you don't want a tee per se because it gives your opponent free throws, but if you're going to take a tech, that's all you can live with. Muhammad wants 3, can't get it. North St. Paul, they're relying on that three-point game. Not surprising considering the height advantage Minnehaha has down low. But Minnehaha can shoot threes as well. Caden Johnson overcommitted on the putback attempt. Muhammad finds his man. Scrum for the rebound, picked up by the Polars. Hickman knocks down the 3. And that will be enough to get Minnehaha to call a timeout. As we said in the open, there are no guarantees. And Lance Johnson certainly understands that. So 9-point game here and a chance for the Polars to get everyone fired up.
Yeah, they're playing their hearts out right now, giving it 110%, and now the shots are starting to fall. They've hit a couple of huge threes here and got a few big stops on the other end. Now this lead is right back down to 9. They're in this game.
I mentioned this the last time I was here. I like the song, but do they realize it's not September?
I think it's just such a feel-good song. You can get away with playing this in any venue. Nobody else can play.
Imagine if this song hadn't been a thing 40 years later. And there was no social media, so these older folks, well, Africa's another one by Toto. Everybody knows that song.
Indeed, yeah.
And this mini run by North St. Paul is getting the crowd going. And that's what you want to do when you've got, it's not quite a sellout, but you've got a sizable contingent. Usually the North St. Paul Tartan Series is a big one. But as we said earlier, they know it's Minnehaha. How often do you get to see Jalen Suggs and Chet Holmgren and this team and this program that's really, they've been building for years. They won a title in 2013. They had some teams that went to state before then. That 2013 team had a lot of role players, Division II and III guys that banded together and won it all, including Kahari Carter.
Oh yeah, this team is definitely, they got 2 great players, but no doubt about it, they got good coaching and good structure, and the rest of these guys are also ready to go and feed off of their 2 stars.
There's a lot of history with Minnehaha. Dallas Williams hit with a foul, and North St. Paul in the penalty. That will send Prince of Ligbe to the line.
And this is where North has to be particularly careful because you're getting the penalty with still 7 minutes left in this game. You already got some supreme athletes on this Minnehaha side, and now they're going to be trying to attack the basket. And it's already tough to stop them as is from getting to the rim without getting physical or giving up fouls. Now that they're getting a 1-on-1, I mean, they're almost guaranteed a foul with any extra contact. You got to be careful here not to just put them on the line too many times or they can end up running up the score.
North St. Paul ran into the same problem with Cretin-Derham Hall. They got into the penalty with 11 minutes left in the first half, and Cretin-Derham Hall able to run away with that one, 85-59. Not what you wanted following the timeout as you're trying to work your way back. As we said, there are no guarantees. Muhammad can't hit the elbow J. Suggs can't save it. And when you look at Minnehaha's schedule, in the conference, they'll probably run the tables. But out of conference, we mentioned Eden Prairie and De La Salle and Edina. You've got a lot of high caliber 3A, 4A teams. We don't know what to expect with the Sierra Canyon series with Bronny James and Zaire Wade, but you figure they'll bring it.
No doubt. It's a good job by their coaching staff and athletic department getting them some games outside of conference that'll be able to test them and have, oh my goodness. We just had a monster dunk here. Has everybody on their feet. Oh my goodness.
That was Prince of Ligbe and Jalen Suggs. He's pumped and he's all the way on the other end.
Yeah, I can understand that reaction. I even lost it myself for a second. That was nasty.
And Suggs is having a word with number 5, Donovan Smith. I'm not sure what that embrace is about.
They're playing it up a little bit.
Okay. But you're right. Even the North St. Paul fans drop their jaw.
Yeah, as a fan of basketball, sometimes you just can't help but to have a positive reaction to that one. I even saw some of the guys on the north bench kind of jump out of their seats a little bit, and he's gonna be hearing about that one for a little while. That was a.
Well, it'll be up on Twitter and Instagram in the next few minutes, I would think. A league mate completes a 3-point play.
And just the social media has kind of changed the culture when it comes to contesting dunks and things like that. Before those days, guys would go up to block dunks all the time and just would be fearless on defense. But now you don't want to do that because moments like this, when somebody actually gets you and dunks on you, it goes right up on the internet and everybody is seeing it in a matter of moments.
Right, you don't want to be posterized.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of the trickle-down effect, look what happened in football. Odell Beckham Jr. made that one-handed catch. Now everyone in the NFL is perfecting that one-handed grab. Tight ends, receivers.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had that down. What might have been for you?
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
But you're right. In social media, and this is why one reason why I don't get into the best team ever argument, as Hickman fires the 3 and can't connect. When you look at the top teams from a decade ago, Hopkins back in 2009, I think, when you had Blake Hoffarber or Royce White or Chris Humphreys going back a few years, Minneapolis North, the teams from the 90s, Khalid El-Amin. Great teams, but you didn't have social media to put them on a platform the way you do now.
Right.
So you throw that in there, and then you also have the different eras. There's no way to compare this Minnehaha team to, like, say, Minneapolis North from 95 through 97.
Yeah, I remember even a great team we played when I was playing 2010 St. Paul Johnson.
They went undefeated.
Yeah, they went undefeated, pretty much ran the table, and you didn't hear about them all week. There was no hoopla and fanfare. We didn't hear all that. We just heard from our coaches say, this is going to be a great team you guys have to bring in. When you get in there, that's when you got a chance to see how great they really were.
And that team, one of their wins came against the 4A champion that year in Hopkins.
Indeed, yeah, that was a huge game.
And you're right, they were under the radar. If that team had been around 10 years later, I think it would have been a much different story.
Yeah, some of those kids probably aren't as humble. They're hearing about how great they are every day and how they're going to win the championship from all the way from preseason. So it's just such a different dynamic.
Well, it's just something you've got to filter out. And as what Lance Johnson was telling me earlier, just a little flabbergasted that riders would be saying this is the best team we've ever seen when he's been around long enough to know there's a long way between November and March.
Indeed.
Chase Carter with the putback, 35-19. Richfield had some strong teams, I think, back in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, I remember coming up 2005, 2006, they had Ray Brown, Travis Brown, those guys were going to state. A couple state appearances, a state championship appearance, almost beat Shakopee. Yeah, had some good Division I talent on Richfield. Yeah, those were some great days.
And I'm plugging Jessica January for the 19th time, it seems, but even her teams that went to state, they didn't win it. Again, social media was still coming into form. And now with Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, it's easy to share clips. Back then, again, you had Twitter, but the social media, the smartphones weren't as ubiquitous as they are now. And I think that does alter the discussion.
Without a doubt.
And if you talk to the Minnehaha fans, including the Sandefurs, and I spoke with Lisa Carter, Chase's mother, and they felt Minnehaha should have beaten Cretin-Derham Hall, but Brian said, you know what? Sometimes a slice of humble pie reminds you of how tough the grind is going to be.
Yeah. It's never a bad thing to take a loss early in the year to kind of recalibrate some of these guys and let them know, hey, you're going to get a lot of teams' best shot every night, and this is just the beginning. Get used to it. This is what it's going to take for us to be able to win these type of games. We want to ultimately reach our destination, which is to be the Class 3A champions for the Red Hawks.
4 minutes to go in the first half. North St. Paul, they've had some moments. Muhammad with a little crossover. can't knock it down. This is the first year they were able to return to campus altogether. You will remember the explosion from a couple years ago that rocked the community.
Indeed.
They had to play an entire season away from home at neutral facilities. That's number 23 for the Red Hawks. Holmgren will have a chance at three. That was Trent Finney who got the dime there. Not quite the posterization as a league-based dunk earlier, but a dunk is right. Still worth the same. Still worth 2 points. It's not about style. It's about finishing. And Chet Holmgren, he can finish.
His ability to catch that ball and transfer it over the basket and dunk it in that short amount of time, that's just tough for any guys who's going to be playing against him to deal with. Just guys at this level aren't able to quick twitch and jump and get up and react to that type of movement in that amount of time.
And we're discussing the changes. 10, 20 years ago, someone like Chet, you wouldn't see him making free throws or sometimes lurking around the outside. Back then, it was the centers that did all the dirty work down low. You don't see the stretch fours like you do now.
Yeah, as you were mentioning with the Odell Beckham catch, that kind of sparked all the young players to perfect the one-hand catch in his peers. It's kind of the same thing with Steph Curry and in the advent of kind of revolutionizing the three. So even now the big guys are trying to perfect their jump shots and work around the perimeter more. I mean, that's just where the game has gone.
The pace and space as Isaiah Davis has a chance at three. The pace and space. Steph Curry, James Harden. I haven't seen anyone try the double step back move yet because I think that's still a travel.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to. It'd be hard for somebody to revolutionize that one.
Kawhi Leonard's laugh, no one has touched that either.
He's a special guy. Special player, but also a special guy.
Isaiah Davis, the 6'3 junior. But yes, you see more big guys shooting from distance, and it's carried over into the women's game as well. You might see that tomorrow with Holy Angel Shakopee. Holy Angels, they've got some lengthy members of their unit, but they can shoot outside, inside. Ajayi got the foul on Holmgren. So Emmanuel Ajayi will shoot free throws. And that's not easy to do. Chet Holmgren usually controls his body, but Ajayi was able to beat him there.
Yeah, that's what you got to do if you're the Polars. You got to be aggressive, even attack the body of Holmgren. And when you go up against a shot blocker of that caliber, a guy with that type of length and size advantage, you want to get into his chest and minimize the space between you two and minimize his ability. That's what he did that time, and Holmgren had to kind of bring his hands down. And anytime the referees see the guys bringing their hands down and not keeping their verticality, 9 times out of 10 they'll get the offensive player the benefit and give him a foul.
Smith for three, no good. Oh, Suggs was ready. Mistimed it, but he was ready.
Indeed, he's looking to get him a putback dunk out here.
And instead, Brandon Hickman scoring in transition, 40-24, but this game has been controlled by Minnehaha from the start. A 10-0 run to open the game.
It feels like the Redhawks have another dimension, another level they can go to. They haven't really tried to exploit this zone the Poles are running. It's a few times Holmgren has caught the ball around the foul line, and he can. That's just like an easy shot for him. If he gets that, faces up, he can knock down that 15-footer, take a dribble, and get right to the front of the basket. There's not going to be many people that can stop him. Maybe that fall he took earlier is help hindering him a bit now, where he's not being as aggressive offensively. But I feel like Redhawks are holding back a little bit until they really have to put the attack on offense.
He still has 12 points, though. Hickman, that was last touch by the Redhawks. Still has 12 points, and and he's getting a lot of help. I think that's the difference here. The Red Hawks have a lot of depth, and remember Terry Lockett, even though he's hurt, he came back. When he returns to form, Chase Carter moved over from Maranatha. Last year it was the big three, Aligbe, Holmgren, and Suggs. This year they've added some high-quality help. One of a few reasons they got the preseason hype they did.
Yeah, and that depth will pay dividends for them down the line when they're trying to go ahead and chase a Class 3 title. You're going to need depth to play these bigger schools. These bigger schools are known for having more depth and players that they can go to off the bench, so that'll be beneficiary for the Red Hawks down the line as the season progresses.
Chase Carter staying with it. 4 points for Chase Carter. Less than a minute to go. And then that article I mentioned earlier, Josh Thurow was interviewed for that story, and he said it's nice to have the athletics program get some recognition. Minnehaha has a strong academic rigor to them, a high reputation, a lot of great people at that school, and a lot of folks that come back to get involved there. But athletics, as you know, has such a following that it can be the platform, the springboard that introduces you to all these schools. It's kind of weird that it works that way, but that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Having strong sports programs gets you the notoriety. That's going to be a foul on Watson Salisbury.
That was a beautiful move. Got him with a nice crossover, then came to the stop and kind of gave him the rondo up and under. Gave him the fake, got him off his feet, and now he's going to the line and shoot two.
And the Polars, they have to get a little crafty here to compensate for the lack of size compared to Minnehaha. But Minnehaha, they're a school that produces a lot of leaders, whether in sports and elsewhere. And one of their former athletes is now coaching the girls team, and Matt Pryor. He played for the same Red Hawks team with Lance Johnson as his coach. Came back and got the Red Hawks their first state title in 9 years in Class 2A for the girls.
It's a powerhouse of a school as far as athletics goes, without a doubt.
In basketball, they are one of the powers. They're always a team in the conversation. .7 to go, North St. Paul ball. Muhammad, good if it goes. I thought he had another second or two to get closer. But 42-26 have scored the half. Minnehaha in control of this one. North St. Paul had their moments. If they can finish more efficiently, I feel that's the difference here. Finish more efficiently, maybe knock down a couple more threes. They could make a run at Minnehaha, but the Red Hawks, their depth, their talent on full display in the first half.
I also think the Polars need to be a bit more aggressive. They're getting, there's been several times where they've caught the ball in advantageous spots, but they're playing a little bit robotic and just waiting to run the offense. Sometimes things have opened up for them. They haven't taken advantage. They got to be a little bit more aggressive, get downhill, and be decisive with the ball. As far as for Minnehaha goes, they pretty much got to keep doing what they're doing. They're playing pretty good defense. They've got good shots, 42 points at the half. If they get a few more shots connect, I'm pretty sure they'll be on their way to winning this one.
We'll come back for the second half in a moment. This is high school boys basketball.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
James, she's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in!
And everything in between.
Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That's put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Mike Peden and Erik Jimson with you. We'll see if our legs can hold out for another 18 minutes.
Yeah, that was tough. Good thing I'm still young, so I can.
You're young,
through.
you're in shape, you're a former athlete, you know how to stay in shape. Well, Minnehaha Academy, 42-26 lead over North St. Paul, and a lot of the big names are here. I actually was talking with Tremont Van Leer. His stepdaughter, Mia Curtis, plays for the girls team. A lot of the Minnehaha players, boys and girls, are fluent in Spanish. They go to a Spanish immersion school in elementary, and he told me by the 4th grade, most of them are fluent in the Spanish language. So Jalen, Suggs, Jenica, Mia Curtis, they can all talk to each other in Spanish if they want.
Yeah, that's awesome because that's a super useful tool to have, like going down the line where the world is headed, for you to be able to be bilingual and speak multiple languages. That's
Kobe Bryant, I think, is bilingual, like Italian, I think.
Italians, I think Spanish, a little bit of French. He kind of has it all.
I'm trying to remember. Was he your favorite player, or
no, LeBron James?
LeBron, that's okay. LeBron, yep. North St. Paul looking for some momentum here. Jalen Suggs swatting away Hickman's shot. And that's a standard alley-oop to Chet Holmgren.
Nice pass. That was almost from beyond half court.
That was. It seems standard or routine for us, but that is not easy to do. That takes a lot of practice.
Yes, indeed.
But this is what Minnehaha loves to do. They love the Showtime mode, and it looks like they're about to get into Showtime.
Yeah, the Polish have to be careful. A couple turnovers or quick shots. Now Minnehaha is off and running 2 easy baskets, and Chet is here at the line looking for the three-point play. This could be a quick 5 points for him. This to get him going, and if he gets hot, he can be the nail in the coffin for this game.
And on top of that, Aaron Murphy picking up his 4th foul for the Polars. Well, next time I cover Minnehaha, and as Tremont put it, next time I interview Jalen, whenever that is, I should have him call a play out in Spanish.
Yeah, that would be something.
Well, that will not be added to the Jalen Suggs highlight mixtape.
Yeah, he tried to pull a page out of the old Tracy McGrady book with the self alley-oop, and everybody was holding their breath because if he would have completed that one, this place would have lost it.
Well, you can't get too carried away, even though you're up by 21. There's still a lot of time.
Yeah, you want to be careful because even not even speaking from just developing bad habits, but those are dangerous plays. Those you don't want to get too risky and stuff results in injury and things of that nature.
Right, or backfires and leads to a transition look the other way.
Exactly.
We spoke of Minnehaha's pedigree in the first half. North St. Paul trying to build it. They made state a few years ago in an upset run, 2016, I believe. And Damian Johnson, the following year, took over, played college basketball for the Gophers. And one of the pregame rituals he instilled, I will get to that in a minute. Here's Chet Holmgren. Padding his rebounding and point totals there. Timeout Polars. So last week he put out a call for tie donations because his players dress up on game days and they were short on ties. And he got plenty of folks who answered the call and offered. Some gave him money to purchase ties, others dropped off gear. He just wants his players to feel empowered and help prepare them for the real world, whether it's going to job interviews, formal invites, things of that nature.
And that's a nice gesture by him because a lot of young men, especially of this day and age, they just don't get that feel from their parents or people that they look up to, or people that are looking out for them. Like, a lot of people don't dress formally, like, especially kids, they don't like to do that. But by Coach Johnson, bringing them together, and, that also brings unity and respect, and people respect, fans around, they respect, seeing those type of gestures from the basketball team, and showing that they aren't just basketball players, they can clean up and be nice young men.
Right, they can be whatever they wish. Goes back to something I read on Twitter. The younger kids, the folks who watch, they emulate what they see. And so while basketball, football has a following with communities of color, there's what Damian Johnson is doing. Coma Park, their girls team, does this as well, as a reminder that you can be just as successful in the corporate world anywhere, really.
Yeah.
You can be a great athlete and a great leader. Minnehaha's got plenty of those. 3 on the way. That's short. Redhawks with a 23-point lead over North St. Paul. Wessel, hesitation move, and Holmgren stayed with them. Dallas Williams beats Holmgren there.
It has to be Holmgren's 6th or 7th block. He's just been a terror on defense in the interior. Having a Rudy Gobert-like impact down there where guys just can't get shots off on him at the rim.
Redhawks unable to hit the 3. Watson Salisbury scores. That block by Holmgren, that was impressive because he got beat on the hesitation move and he was still able to get up there for the swipe. Shaheed Muhammad drains another 3. He's up to 13, but the Redhawks in control of this one, 51-31.
He's going to have to be a bit of a workhorse for them with his ability to create shots off the dribble. A lot of guys just don't have that, so he's going to have to be their facilitator and their offensive threat.
We have a stoppage in play. Hickman goes down hard. And you see Holmgren doesn't go out often behind the 3-point line, but you'll see he's trying to make that shot work, owing to the trend we see in modern basketball. And North St. Paul, if there's a team that can't afford more injuries, it's the Polars. They lost LaRon Thomas against Cretin-Derham Hall to an ankle sprain.
And those are the scariest injuries, the non-contact, when you go up and come down, no one around, and you come up limping after. Looks as though hopefully it's not too serious. He was able to kind of walk off on his own power.
Ajayi used up the dribble. And we have a jump ball. Minnehaha with the arrow. Minnehaha located on West River Parkway. Right along the Mississippi. $14-footer for Ajayi. He gets the friendly bounce. Holmgren. That will go to North St. Paul.
It's a big possession here for North. If they can get another basket, cut this lead back down to 15-16. It's a nice job by them kind of stifling Holmgren towards the rim. They may have got away with a little foul there, but he has to know, those shorter guys, the referees are going to want to get in the benefit of the doubt, so he has to go up strong and try to finish through that contact.
That's what Ben Teaglin does, and he'll shoot 2. That's the second foul on Watson Salisbury. Teaglin missing the front end. Misses both. It will stay North St. Paul ball. Deep three from Muhammad. Got it.
That's a tough shot coming off the jab step. Squaring up, he knocked that one down from behind the volleyball line there. So that's a tough shot by him, but that's a huge shot to keep the Polars right up in this game. Now they got a fast break opportunity here. You got to convert this.
Swinging around, Minnehaha stays with them. Muhammad trying to shake his defender. The JE. Muhammad pulls up, switch.
Man, yeah, he's feeling it now.
$18 points for Shaheed Muhammad. I had Emil Jihad with me last week. He called him an underrated figure of the senior class. And Shaheed, he came over from Woodbury. A great compliment. And that's going to be a foul on Oligbe, his second. Muhammad, a fantastic addition for the Polars as Damian Johnson tries to build the program. As we said in the first half, Brendan Langford Johnson will come back, but not a lot of big names. The Metro East as a whole, a little down this year with Javon Hadley going to Cretin-Derham Hall. Matamidai, leader from a year ago. Tartan.
I'm almost willing to bet Muhammad's favorite player is Steph Curry. If you just watch him, the way he plays and moves, everything is just like Curry.
Jalen Suggs draws the foul to shoot two. Well, you were discussing earlier, you mentioned how Steph Curry changed the game. You knocked down 400 threes that one year. Warriors won 3 titles, and you emulate what you see in the pros.
Yeah, because the old adage used to be a jump shooting team can't win a lot of, win a championship, so you can't live and die. You can't live by jumpers. It was, you live and die by 3. Now it's just, if you can't hit the 3, you don't have a chance. So it's kind of shifted into that.
Old school basketball fans, and you may probably watch tape of the NBA. 3-pointers were a rarity back in the 80s. It was all about inside penetration, but with metrics, analytics, highlighting the value of 3-point shots as Jalen Suggs knocks down some free throws there, making it a 15-point game. With a 3-point shot being more valuable than a 2, you see more players going to that. Some old friends of mine who were the bruisers, if you will, that played strictly the 5, lamenting the lost start. Emmanuel Ajayi scores. Suggs draws a blocking foul. That's the third on Muhammad.
Looks like Suggs will be a little bit more aggressive here as he senses the lead getting a little too cushion, getting a little small. He's going to try to see if he can make a few plays to get this lead back up to a comfortable spot for the Redhawks.
Now 13 points is still a lot, but you're right, sensing that North St. Paul is lurking, and you don't want to give him an opening. As the saying goes, you hear this a lot in the NCAA tournament, the longer you let the underdog hang around, the crazier things can become.
Yeah, you never know what can happen.
Chase Carter rises up for the finish. Suggs will shoot 2.
This is where the Poles have to be careful. The one thing you don't want to have, several possessions now down, they've had turnovers. Suggs has been able to steal the ball, go down the other end, capitalize by drawing fouls. And now he's back at the line now.
And Jalen Suggs, usually money at the free throw line.
Player of his caliber, you don't want to keep sending them to the free throw line. They get to see a few easy ones go in, and they start to get their momentum and confidence back, and he'll start making some plays that'll end up hurting the other team.
Here's Muhammad. Double teamed. Finds Williams. Now Muhammad lines up the three. Got it.
Man, he can really shoot the ball. Holy smoke.
The other way, Davis can't knock it down. Here's a chance for the Polars. And Trent Finney is able to get in there for the steal.
I'm sure Minnehaha, I'm sure their coach isn't happy with Muhammad getting so many open looks, because I know he was a vocal point of their scouting report. And it may not hurt you tonight because you just have so much talent. You may be able to overcome him and hold off the Polars. But if you have developed bad habits like this and you leave more important guys open on some of those teams like Eden Prairie, any diner in those better teams, they can come out and beat you. So I know he'd like to see the Red Hawks clean up their defense.
Suggs for three. He'll shoot three. Well, Trey Holloman comes to mind from Cretin-Derham Hall.
Exactly. He had a huge game against these guys the other night. And, you got to be able to take those type of guys out of their rhythm and they'll come out and they can lead their team. Once you start playing guys that are almost, as talented as you or near your level, they can come out and beat you. So they want to clean up some of these habits on defense and make sure they're corralling Muhammad and North's good guys so they can keep this lead.
Well, Jalen Suggs padding that lead now with the charity stripe. And some of these miscues you think will be patched up as they get more time to practice with each other again. Only 3 full days with the team because of the football crossovers that had to play at the Prep Bowl. SMB lost a close one this year on a 2-point conversion of all things.
Yeah, that hurts. That's a tough way to go out.
Well, and that highlights the versatility. In an era where specialization is more common, because whether it's club or high school or just whoever trying to convince athletes that that's how you get ahead, you see Jalen, Minneapolis North, Trey Holloman, another one. Mohammed, I guess he can get some layups too.
Yeah, he's a well-rounded offensive player. With usually guys at this age, when they have a shot as deadly as his, that's kind of that's all they have. But he's able to really create off the dribble. That gives him that advantage when guys overextend and overplay him on his shot. He can get into the lane and put pressure on the defense.
And closer to home, Tartan, Antoine Kimmons was a football-basketball crossover. Javon Hadley, the same with Montemedi up until he transferred. Suggs stepped on the line.
Yeah, it's nice to see young guys or young ladies participating in multiple sports, because you never know where it can take you, or which one you'll love more, or who you'll meet. So keep your options open out there. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, and go out and do everything while you can, especially if you're a guy like Suggs or Holmgren. Some of these guys are going to have to become basketball players, and that'll be their livelihood. That's what they're going to be doing from here for who knows how long. So enjoy the other sports while you can.
Well, look at the NFL, for example. A lot of basketball crossovers that played in high school. Why you can see tight ends or folks like Beckham make those one-handed grabs and get the up to make catches.
Yeah, and then there are things you can pull from different sports that can help you in the sport, your main sport or whatever it may be. So.
Classic example, Joe Mauer.
Oh, yeah, he was
three-sport athlete.
Phenomenal three-sport athlete.
And he could have had a career in any of them.
Yeah. probably end up choosing the right one.
I'd say so. You're right. Even if he got
guys.
some flack toward the end of his career, it's hard to argue against his results.
Right.
Minnehaha scores a three-pointer. That's Donovan Smith to make it a 17-point game. And so the case in point, a lot of these top athletes, they play multiple sports. Tyler Johnson, he's got an NFL career ahead of him. Won a state title in basketball.
Yeah.
He was just as good a basketball player as he was in football. Decided to go into football and decided to stay his senior season, and I'd say that worked out for him.
It's going to be paying huge dividends.
Well, he'll go to the Outback Bowl.
He was able to put together, him and the Gophers, they put together a huge season. Got more eyes on him. I'm pretty sure that boosted his draft stock a lot. You know, they played some good competition. He showed up in big games and kind of put the Gophers back on the map. So here we go. He'll end up going into the NFL to play receiver. So.
And health-wise, playing multiple sports can prevent overuse injuries. Donovan Smith knocking down threes and taking names. I was watching this story on HBO's Real Time, or not Real Time, that's Bill Maher's. Their sports program that Brian Gumbel hosts. I think Real Sports.
Real Sports with Brian Gumbel. Yeah.
Yes. That examined the overuse injury issue and how it's led to an epidemic of sorts with knee injuries by playing the same sport over and over again with the clubs. And club is an unnecessary evil that a lot of athletes feel they have to do in order to get noticed by college scouts. But if you're playing one sport over and over again, it can wear on you.
Yeah,
and I applaud those who play multiple sports.
Yeah, you're working the same muscle all year round, same techniques all year round, just wearing down your body. So, and like you said, with the AAU grind and those things, you're going into a weekend where you may play 2 or 3 times in a day, and that's just, you know, they stack a lot of games on top of each other in a short time.
Brandon Hickman drains the triple, but North St. Paul, they still trail by 17. Suggs, 3-ball, no good, but look who's there for the cleanup.
Holmgren drew the attention. They left Suggs wide open. He got a great look rolling out, and Holmgren right back on the glass and cleaned it up for him.
And to finish up on what you were saying, even though we joke about football legs and how it can take a while to get into basketball mode, you know, the benefits outweigh the negatives. Jalen Suggs got to win a state championship in football and basketball last season. That doesn't happen often.
No, like I said, this will probably be the last time he's able to play football at a high level, and you know.
Well, unless he decides to play college football,
yeah,
he could probably do. He could do both. He could. It's almost impossible these days, but I could see him being a Bo Jackson-like figure. He's one of my favorite athletes who played baseball and football.
Indeed. But yeah, that'll be just something that he'll have in his back pocket as an experience that he'll be able to tell people about for a long time. That hey, you know, I won at a high level on the football field. I won on a high level at the basketball court. So
your buddy nice. Jessica.
Yeah, she was a good volleyball player, a great basketball player, a great track and field athlete. So
yeah, she won a couple of 2-3 state titles in track. I think she even set some records in the hurdle events.
Yeah, use all your gifts. You know, don't put all your eggs in one basket and give it a go.
Well, I guess you can speak to that. You played football and basketball.
Yeah.
Did you have a spring sport? I hope they were just kidding.
Yes,
there was some shenanigans right next to us.
Yeah, it might be some high school stuff. Kids,
might be some restlessness.
Yeah, playing around.
I was going to say, did you play a spring sport?
So with me, usually what I was doing in spring was playing AAU basketball. So I kind of.
Okay.
But yeah, all fall I was football, and all winter, late fall I was basketball. So.
67-48. Here we go. Jalen Suggs with authority. Hickman for 3. Williams goes up, no good. And you know, I'll give North St. Paul credit. They are playing as tough as they can, but much like the Cretin-Derham Hall game, I just feel they're overmatched, and that's not a knock on their talent, just Minnehaha Academy. It's a lot of tools at their disposal.
Yeah, North just has to keep in mind, if they come and play this hard every night, they'll win some games. You won't run into a Minnehaha Academy every night where they got guys that are ranked in the state and even supporting guys that are on their way to being, having notoriety in the state and just great basketball players. So if they play hard like this every night, they'll win a good handful of games. And they got a great player on in Muhammad. He's going to be a really good player.
Williams with the pump fake. The kick out. Hickman back out to Muhammad. Another three. Pure.
He can really shoot the ball. He's unbelievable. You can tell he's put a lot of time into crafting that jump shot. That'll take him a long way.
I'll say this, if any college scouts are out there looking for a sharpshooter to add to their ranks, Shaheed Muhammad's worth a look.
Oh yeah, definitely.
69-51, and again, props to North, even if they're not going to win this one. Now, they do play in Section 4-4A, so Cretin-Derham Hall and Eastridge, two teams that look like they'll have another showdown in the section final. They may not be as loaded as Minnehaha when you look at the names, the notable names, but Cretin-Derham Hall, hey, they beat Minnehaha, so no one's going to take them lightly. Eastridge beat Park Center at that same tip-off classic event. The Raptors bring back a lot, including Ben Carlson, who's going to Wisconsin.
So those teams they loaded. They have a storied history. They're good year in, year out. They got a lot of guys that come to those schools, and they got good programs. Like I said, North, they're going to be outmatched in a lot of games. As long as they continue to put the effort at the forefront of everything they do, they'll end up winning some games, and they'll feel good about themselves going forward.
Well, with the non-conference schedule they put together, if nothing else, it will put them in great position for those conference games. The Metro East, as we said, a little down. Matamidi, not where they used to be. St. Thomas Academy rebuilding. So the Polars, they could do really well, pick up a lot of wins in conference play by playing these teams. And with Brendan Langford-Johnson expected to return soon, that will help build up the ranks. Muhammad, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, he is on fire. This is quite the show he's putting on.
Suggs, another three. That's short. Holmgren out to Donovan Smith. Holmgren to Suggs! Reverse slam! Woo. Good morning, North St. Paul!
They set that one up perfectly. I think Suggs was kind of lulling those guys to sleep the last few plays, taking the corner three. And
right.
They kind of forgot about him. He stuck back door and brought a hammer.
That was a hammer. If they need a new actor for Thor in the MCU, I think Jalen Suggs offered his audition right there.
That's just a play. You don't see that play on many levels. That's usually only NBA guys making that type of play on the baseline.
But Jalen Suggs is that kind of athlete. Going back to what I said in the first half, when you're knocking down threes from Steph Curry range as an 8th grader.
See the big things ahead for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's hard to imagine. I remember covering that game. It was 4 years ago. At the time, well, I didn't know he was going to become the player he is. But it's fun to see. Jalen Suggs with the encore. North St. Paul says, I don't think so. Look out.
He tried to catch him again with the same baseline cutting.
And look at Hickman. North St. Paul, they're celebrating, even though they're trailing. You know what? They were ready for it that time, and even Tremont is giving North St. Paul an applause there. That was a well-timed defensive play.
Yes, yes, indeed. That's what you want to see. They gave up an easy backdoor cut for a dunk last time. Next time, he was able to catch the ball, but somebody met him at the rim and said, hey, it's going to be, not going to let you just make a mockery of us here in these last 5 or so minutes. Right. We're still here to compete.
And that's one of those little things that Damian Johnson will highlight, I presume, when he goes over the game film.
Yeah, this is the type of effort we're going to need, guys, day in and day out.
And Brandon Hickman knocks down another three. You know what? All the props in the world to North St. Paul. Caden Johnson. Holmgren blocked. And your routine Chet Holmgren dunk for a three-point play.
And if you're Chet Holmgren, that's what you got to do. They aren't giving you the ticky-tack fouls and the slaps on the layup, so go up and, as a 7-footer, be heard and dunk it on top of somebody, and the referees respect that, and now they give you the foul.
And at 7 feet, you imagine you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt all the time, so like you said, you've got to let them know I'm here to play.
Exactly.
That is the 5th foul for Aaron Murphy, so he's done. Student section getting a little rowdy in front of us.
Yeah, maybe time for people to go home.
Chet Holmgren completes a three-point play. Well, now they've all got their phones out, waiting to see if Holmgren or Suggs have another dunk in them. Muhammad to Hickman. Draws a foul on Johnson. He'll shoot 1 and 1. As I was going to say before all that, all the props in the world to North St. Paul. Minnehaha is going to get the win, but North St. Paul, they didn't quit. They're still going at it. And they're playing just as hard as they did at the start of the game.
And those are the signs of a well-coached team. They respect their coach, and they're still going out and trying to execute the game plan, playing hard to the last whistle, and you respect that out of any team.
Effort, hustle, how many times does that get evaluated? Even in games, I know you had your share of these as a football and basketball athlete. When you're on the winning end of a game like this, it's a lot of fun. And now what do we have?
I'm not sure.
Did they overrule the call? I don't think so.
Maybe it was he might have mistaken it for a 1 and 1, and he might have missed the
that.
plan.
Yes, I think. Okay, that's what happened. Don't tell me someone forgot to tuck in their jersey. A leg bait for 3. He gets the Plinko bounce. But I have to imagine when you were an athlete, your coach was looking at all of that, how you would perform in games that didn't go your way, because it's fun to be on the winning end like Minnehaha is, but when you're not, what kind of attitude, what demeanor are you bringing to the team, to the culture?
That tells a lot about your character. If you can only be yourself in a win, that means you're a front runner. You don't want to be playing with front runners, because those guys aren't going to be able to, when the game gets tight and things aren't going their way, they aren't going to be able to hang in there and fight those tough battles.
Well, in the Tip-Off Classic had some great examples. St. Cloud Apollo, 46-4 run. They were down by 20, end up winning by a bunch.
Yeah, that's phenomenal to be able to come back from that and pull out a win.
46-4 run. I don't think you'll see that the rest of the season.
No, that's tough to do at any level.
And Jalen Suggs one-on-one. Tried to beat his defender with the behind-the-back dribble, but Hickman was there. You just never know. And I discussed this with Olivia Antilla, a name you might recognize last night, as Muhammad adds 2 more. Hey, Muhammad's got 31. Let's not forget him.
Yeah, he had a monster game out here tonight, and he showed up and made sure, if it was going to be any type of game, that Minnehaha was going to have to deal with him. So he did his part.
3 on the way from Smith, no good. Holmgren tips it in for 2 more. And you're right, a monster game, and it's probably going to be overshadowed because of what Minnehaha's doing. They've got 81 here with 2:32 to play. But Muhammad, he's doing this without a lot of support compared to the Red Hawks Same thing happened with the Cretin-Derham Hall Raiders. If North St. Paul, if they can get Laurent Thomas back, find a second option, as you said earlier, they're going to win their lion's share of games, especially in conference play.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, they just got to keep at the forefront of everything. Remember that every team you play won't be this talented. You know, some nights you're just going to run up against teams like this, and they just got, they got some uncanny talent that most teams don't harbor. But if you continue to play like this, especially Muhammad, if he shoots the ball like this and is this aggressive offensively and this efficient, they can beat a lot of teams on any night. So it looks like they're well coached. They have a game plan and they play hard, and that's going to get them some wins at this level.
Now, we've seen a lot of high-flying dunks and layups, but I wonder, could any of these guys pull off a in-game cartwheel like your friend Jessica once did?
I'm pretty sure most of them, they don't really, I don't know how those registered in her mind and just pull it off. It's just natural instinct, but.
You've seen the clip, though?
Oh, yeah, I've seen it in person. I've seen clips.
You were at that game, or it was Richfield Hill Murray? I don't know if she did it at.
Oh, it's been done, several times.
I saw her do it once, and I remember the look on my face going, what in the world?
Yeah.
Well, she was in gymnastics until 4th, 5th grade and maintained that flexibility. How red do you think her face is going to be if she's watching this tape and all these shout-outs we're giving her on the air?
Yeah, she'll definitely be
her face will be a couple shades redder.
Yeah, she'll be a little embarrassed.
Yeah, she did a cartwheel. I saw her do a somersault once. If any of these players could pull it off, I'd like to see it. All right. 2:09 to go, and North St. Paul, they're still getting after it.
Yeah, both teams hustling.
Right. It's Muhammad with an encore.
I think he has about 8 threes or so tonight, which is, man, that's just tough to be that deadly from that range. And he isn't shooting these right up on the line. He's shooting them from
Steph Curry range.
Out, yeah. So this has been an impressive performance by him.
To get 34 against Minnehaha, even though it won't be a winning effort, that is something you can hang your hat on. And I imagine if he's still looking for a place to play after his senior year, this is the kind of tape that will go out. I know he's won me over. I'd argue that he was your player of the game, even though North St. Paul's going to come up short in this one.
Yeah, and guys like that, there's always late bloomers and guys that are kind of under the radar. And he can be a guy with his ability and his skill set that can sneak in somewhere and end up becoming a household name for some team. So he'll be a story to follow all year and see how he does.
Well, someone that comes to mind in that respect, J.P. McCura. Started on JV, didn't play varsity ball until his last couple of years.
And then now he's playing in the NBA. I mean, not heavy minutes, but he was a good player in college and was a phenomenal high school player towards the end of his career. So.
Won a state title with Lakeville North back in 2014 and went to Xavier, did well there.
And Holmgren probably has about 10 blocks. He's just...
That's not uncommon for him.
Muhammad kind of figured out early, hey, I'm going to have a great game. I better start knocking down some of these outside shots because going in there time and time again at Chet, that might not be the best plan of attack.
It's hard. Now, when Holmgren goes up against some taller folks like Jacob Hudson with Edina, that'll be interesting to see. De La Salle, they're a little smaller this year, but they've got Cade Haskins. And speaking of pedigrees, I'd say they have one of the best in Class 3A, 6 in a row. Potentially starting a new streak last year after they won the 3A title. De La Salle, Minnehaha, well, last year it was just a fun renewal of the rivalry. This year when these two meet, it could be a potential state tournament preview.
It's going to be a huge game. A lot of people looking forward to seeing,
Well, I imagine that game will be sold out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the Sierra Canyon Series sold out in 2 minutes, which doesn't surprise you, but De La Salle, Minnehaha, when they revived the rivalry, they used to be in the same conference.
Yeah, here we go again. And De La Salle is a proud program, and they'll be looking to show these guys, hey, just because you came back don't mean you're not taking the light on you. We still run it around here, so you got to be ready to deal with us. So.
And they meet at the end of the season, February 22nd. I got to cover it last year, and that was a lot of fun. And it's a boys-girls doubleheader. It started with the girls, and then they added the boys, and then all the big names showed up. And, the boys are used to it. With the Tip-Off Classic, you saw the big crowd for CDH Minnehaha, but for the girls, when you get those doubleheaders and you get to play in front of a packed house, Matt Pryor told me he felt it helped Minnehaha prepare for state, even though they've been there for so long, because now you get that atmosphere that doesn't always happen with girls hoops. Although with Hopkins Farmington, some of those big games, wherever Paige Beckers goes, she draws a crowd too.
Oh yeah, she's definitely one of the hottest tickets around in high school sports, not just in Minnesota, but across the country.
We've got two big names here. Shaheed Muhammad, one more three-pointer. He's got 37. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, he's not letting up. And even if Minnehaha's defense has gotten a little bit lax here, these are not easy shots he's making. He's still making these shots from 4 feet behind the line.
He might have time for another one. No, Dallas Williams will go for it instead. Usually you see the starters go out, they'll bring in the bench players, but North St. Paul, like, you know what, we're going to ride this out and show you that we can play. And they did. Muhammad with 37, but Minnehaha wins 86-69. It was the outcome that we maybe expected, but Muhammad, what an incredible performance from him.
Yeah, valiant effort by him and just North in general to make the game interesting at times. It was kind of known that they might not be able to pull this one out, but they made it interesting in several moments throughout the game, swinging the momentum, creating turnovers, hitting big threes, especially him just leading the charge, finishing with 37, which, I mean, like I tell you folks, no matter who you're playing or how hard they're playing against you, that's tough to do. So, hats off to them, but Minnehaha, this is a team that's going to win a lot of basketball games, and they may go down in history. So,
well, they took another step in that direction. Jalen Suggs 20+. Chet Holmgren had a nice game. But I'd say we got our money's worth in this one.
Yes, we did.
So that will wrap things up here from North St. Paul. The Redhawks knock off the Polars 86-69. For Erik, Jimson, and the rest of our crew, I'm Mike Peden. Thank you for watching High School Boys Basketball.